Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rich. This is RR37. Welcome to another edition of our alternate universe mode here in Wwe 2K19. Another great show tonight off the back of what was an historic night last week on Raw. We get things kicked off today with none other than a returning Henry Bobby. He has requested some mic time. He's been granted that request by our GM Spike Jackson. It's going to be interesting. We've not seen Henry since he had that big war with Robinson, so let's check in, see what he's got to say. First thing I would like to say is thank you for that hell of a warm reception. Thank you to Spike Jackson for this mic time. And it is great to be back here on Raw doing what it is I love to do. I had to take some time out after the last man standing match with Robinson. For obvious reasons, I went into that fully believing that I was going to win when I didn't. And he managed somehow to dish out enough punishment to put me down for an unanswered 10 count. That really messed with me mentally. It shattered my self-belief, and I'm not afraid to admit that. But I'm back. I've been putting the work in behind the scenes for a few weeks now, getting myself back up to peak physical fitness, back up to where I need to be mentally, and believing in myself again. The next step for me is to get back in between these ropes, not with a microphone, but with an opponent, and getting back on that winning trail to lay this ghost to rest. As much as it pains me to do it, I am a humble guy and I'm humble enough to do it. I want to congratulate Robinson for his big win. I mean, we went to war and he was the better man. The first time he beat me, there was outside reasons behind it. He jumped me before the match. Got under my skin, and he won in an unfair manner, but take nothing away from the guy. This time we went man to man. There was no outside interference. We fought all over this arena and he beat me fair and square, so congratulations. But this was just about letting you know that I'm back and I am ready to fight. I'm better than I was before, and as soon as I get an opponent, I'll prove it. Ladies and gentlemen, Henry Bobby is back, in his own words, better than ever. He's laid a ghost to rest tonight, and hopefully bigger, brighter and better things for Henry in the future. But as for the present, as for tonight, we have another big card. We've got the Schmitz back in action tonight with Jordan Smith going up against Dixon Jackson. Make no mistake about it, guys, for Dixon's state of mind, with how under his skin and how Robinson's living in his head at the moment is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. He needs to win tonight. There is no other way of putting it. And if he's off his game, do not for 1 second think that Jordan Smith can't beat him, because he can. He's very capable of doing that. He's got George outside with him. For me, it shows how loyal Dixon actually is, because a lot of his problems at the moment, it's not even George's fault, but Robinson's got this thing against George and he just can't let it go. And that is bleeding over into the career of Dixon Armstrong, and it is costing him match after match after match. So he definitely needs to win tonight. Second match we've got tonight is Damian Zachary, who he's starting to have a bit of a light shined on him now. He was going under the radar quite nicely in our tournament, in our league, which I will get the results back up for very soon. Yeah, he's not so much under the radar now. You can't be doing that well and it not get noticed. He's done well to get away with that for quite so long. And he's against Brock Cruz, who himself is a man who is in really good form at the moment. So it's anyone's guess which way this is going to go. It'll be a huge 3 points. And not only that, it's just that momentum. I think Brock needs this probably more than Damien, because Brock thriving off that confidence and momentum. So interesting match, definitely. And one, again, that I really can't call. Following that is RK Ortiz against Aiden Horton. Both of these guys needing to win. It started to look promising for Ortiz, but he's slipping again lately. I'm sure that Cornerstone will be absolutely chomping at the bit to get back to winning ways, considering that their biggest star, you've got to say, he is by far their biggest star at the moment, definitely the most active, is Cannon Diamond, who did absolutely nothing wrong in his match last week, yet still lost. If you want to find out how, then that video is up on the channel now, along with all of the rest. Yeah, he must be scratching his head as to how he lost that match. It was a brilliant performance from him, but HB Kang's just on a different level to my personal opinion. He's on a different level to everybody, bar none, on this roster at the moment. So no shame in that loss, but definitely will cause some head scratching. And again, I'm pretty sure that Aiden Horton will want to get Cornerstone back onto winning ways again tonight. And then there's the Smiths, of course, back in action. This time it's Tyson, and he will be going up against a very impressive last time out Stud Rivers, starting to look more like his old self. But before we can literally go ahead and say that for certain, he needs to be doing it consistently. So we'll see if he can do that tonight, but he's definitely starting to look more like his old self. So that is the card tonight. But before we get into the tournament matches, you can see it's only a 4-card event. So a 4-match event card, sorry, that's just what the games gave me. So before we get into them, we have got a match that should have happened a couple of weeks ago, but the brakes were slammed on that one by Franklin Majors, taking things into his own hands. So yes, that does mean that we have got Cameron Oxley here tonight in one-on-one action. He's got his new buddy Dreg Slater by his side. And make no mistake, this is a big match for Cameron. It really is, but it's equally as important for Travis Turner, who is his opponent tonight, because both of them struggling a bit in this universe. Cameron is he's a constant underdog, really, just because of his size. His look, his character can't be called into question. It's just literally his size that most matches he goes into is the smaller guy, which makes him the constant underdog. And he's gonna, like I said, be going against Travis Turner, a guy who's just really trying to earn a name for himself in our universe at the moment. He likes to be addressed properly, with the proper respect, and that's what he's trying to command from everyone at the moment, but not in a bad way. But it's just not really working out for him. Like I said, Franklin Majors really done a number on him a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago now. And then straight away he tried to get into the ring with Franklin after Franklin gave him a concussion, which you saw that little sidestep there. I still don't think he's 100% over there at the moment, but in a kind of way he reminds me of a younger Dixon Armstrong at the moment. He's just so almost desperate to make this work out for him, that for me, just that one little stutter step in his entrance there makes me think he's still not properly ready for this match. And if Cameron clocked that as well, you can bet your life at some point he's going to go after that weakness, and why wouldn't he? He's in there to do a job. But nice start from Travis at the moment. Straight away, like I mentioned in their entrances, going and using that size advantage. He's not used to being the biggest guy in the ring either, to be honest, Travis Turner, but I would say that he is tonight. Whether he's quicker than Cameron is a different thing. I would say that's probably something that's very evenly matched. He's got a little X factor on the outside if needs be with Dregs, has Cameron, so he's got that going for him. And probably got a massive chip on his shoulder after what happened in the main event last week. Which again, if you haven't seen that, guys, it is up on the channel now. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing at the moment, why not just take that 5 seconds, you know, to just subscribe, hit the bell, and then you won't have to miss another upload. They are coming every 3 days is what I'm aiming for at the moment. Just because I don't just want to chuck anything out there for the sake of it. I am trying to put a lot of effort and thought into these videos and trying to do that around a full-time job as well. So I don't want to promise things that I can't deliver. I feel like I've done that in the past and it hasn't worked out well for me. So yeah, every 3 days is the aim at the moment. We're still very much in a building phase here in this universe. I'm working on divisions, rosters, everything, the shows themselves, pay-per-views. There's still a lot to be done at the moment. But if you are enjoying what you're seeing, and if you have any suggestions as well, like I said, please like, subscribe, and if you feel like you really want to help, there's the share button as well. And any input that you want to have yourself into this series, again, I must stress, as long as it's constructive, then use the comments box. It might not be that your suggestions get used straight away, because I do try and keep in front with these to make sure if I'm asked to do, for instance, as we go for the cover, any overtime or anything during the week, that I've still got the videos done and you guys ain't gonna have to wait for them. So yeah, it might take a bit of time before you see your suggestion come in, but if it is a good one, you will eventually see it. But yeah, back into the match. Cameron's took over this one at the moment. He's kind of doing to Travis what I would expect Travis to be doing to him, if that makes sense. He's got him on the ground trying to take the legs out. I would have thought that if he is that step quicker, that's something that Travis himself might employ, but he's relying on that strength at the moment, is Turner, and you've got to say he seems to be back in control now. The crowd don't seem to know what to make of him at the moment, as he hits a big stomp there. Not going for the cover though, going for another move, and he's going to regret that, because Cameron manages to pull off the reversal and he's back in control of this one now himself. Both men looking a bit fatigued. Cameron dropping Travis on the back of his head there, I noticed, and instantly Travis was really struggling, which again points me towards that injury that he's probably suffered from Franklin Majors with the power bomb on the floor on the outside. Oh, nice move here from Oxley, and that could be enough to get him the win here. He's not going to go for it just yet. He's got in mind a KO, but can he hit it? He has. He's hit the KO, and Travis could be suffering another loss here, and you've got to say, if he does, it's 1, 2, 3, it is another loss, and it's because he can't wait till he's 100% to get back in the ring. And listen, I totally understand that. It's ballsy, it's showing heart, hunger, but it's adding losses to his record, and in this universe of ours, everything revolves around those W's and those L's, and you can see him there hanging his head, lost again, and you have to wonder, if this continues, where are things going to go for Travis Turner? He needs a change in fortune. I understand the fact that he wants this, and I do believe that it's possible to want things too much, and when you get to that point, it can end up costing you, and I do believe that that's exactly what is going wrong with Travis Turner at the moment. He has got all the talent in the world. He just needs to relax a little, is what I think. But take nothing away from Cameron Oxley. That is a big win for him. Success on the horizon for him and Dreg since they've teamed up. Who knows? If you've got any opinion on that, use the comments box. But it's a good win for him tonight. Very good win. Congratulations to Cameron Oxley. And I just want to take you back now, guys, to earlier in the week. This was after last week's show. Obviously, if you saw that, you will know that George Blake was laid out last week, right by the curtain towards the ring. And it had happened at a point where Dixon Armstrong was actually talking to Jacob himself and accepting the challenge of Robinson and Buster England. That challenge being that they're going to fight at our first ever WrestleMania after the championship tournament has finished. That's if he's not, by the way, in the main event, which it hasn't been signed yet. He could end up being the wild card, Dixon Armstrong, and he could end up going through to the finals, in which case the fight with Robinson wouldn't happen, which for me is probably the best outcome for George Blake, because the challenge Robinson's laid down is, if I beat Dixon at WrestleMania, I get George Blake to myself in a one-on-one match, and that match will be a match of my choosing. So Jacobs caught George, obviously asked him about what he feels about that, and he's absolutely terrified, and he feels like his world's falling apart right now, because the person, guys, who laid out George Blake last week on his way to the ring, is what we're assuming, was none other than Franklin Majors, George Blake's most recent client. For whatever reason, we know they haven't been seen eye to eye over the last few weeks, has laid him out on his way. Like I said, we have to assume he was going to the ring with where he was found. So, yep, that's happened. So George is terrified that Dixon's going to lose, and his world is a mess right now because of all that, plus the fact that his newest client, Franklin Majors, has laid him out, and there still, to this day, has been no explanation for that. So God knows what's going on in the head of old George at the moment. Suppose there has to be some sympathy there for him. And now, guys, was supposed to be the segment of the show where we look at the results card, but for whatever reason, it's not happened before. Not able to use that footage. Thankfully, though, I do keep a written note of everything that goes down in this universe of ours. So while Stud makes his way to the ring for this main event, the other results tonight were in Damian Zachary's match against Brock Cruz. It was Brock Cruz that would pick up the win there. RK Ortiz managed to get himself a rare win against Aiden Horton, which is not gonna sit well with Cornerstone at all. Dixon Armstrong managed to pick himself up a win, so at least there's a little glimmer of hope and positivity in the George Blake Dixon, and well, I suppose it's not Franklin Majors camp anymore. And of course we saw Cameron Oxley beat Travis Turner earlier. And that all has led us to where we are now, the main event of the evening, as Stud Rivers, who looked very impressive against Dixon Armstrong in his last outing, like I mentioned earlier, starting to look like he's self-assured, confident, very, very high level performing self. He's had to go away really and find himself. Unfortunately, when you're in the world that he is in at the moment, in our universe, and you start as well as he did, it's kind of like a goldfish bowl effect really. You can't do much in private, and especially the fact that he's part of this tournament, he's not been able to take time out. He's had to try and refine himself and what was working for him, and he's had to work through this hard period in front of the cameras, which can be pretty tough. But if that's time out is anything to go by, then he's definitely on the right track, and it probably won't be too long before he starts becoming successful again. It was all the Alex Charmin saga really. Things were going so well for Stud until they teamed up, and well, Charmin's almost stabbed him in the back really, twice. So yeah, it's been tough for Stud, but he seems to be on his way back slowly. We can't say he's fully on his way back until he starts stacking up the wins, as I said. And like I mentioned earlier when we was talking about the Dixon Armstrong match, if there is a chink in Stud's armour, these Smiths are capable of finding it, either one of them. It happens to be Tyson that goes up against Stud. Well, I'm pretty sure that's right anyways. Yes, it is indeed. So he's not going to have it all his own way, Stud, I wouldn't imagine, but anything can happen. I mean, last week's main event we saw a double count out, so yeah, there's that. Hopefully we get a better main event tonight. It's not, I don't think Stud's ever really let us down in the ring, to be honest, so we'll see what happens. Comes out with a very, very aggressive start. Nice bulldog headlock there, and we've seen this before with Tyson, instantly feeling that back. Has he got, oh wow, told you so already? Is Tyson injured again? 1, 2, just, and I mean just gets the shoulder up there. That's unbelievable. I think he's got back problems again here, Tyson. Maybe it's going to be something, unfortunately for him, that's reoccurring. And like I mentioned with the Smiths, if you've got a weakness, trust me, Stud Rivers will find it. He's hit the winning shot there, and this is over. Wow. Oh my gosh. For me, Tyson came into this match, and I think somehow or another that back's gone on him again, and he wasn't able to mount any offense at all in this match. Fair plays to him for kicking out there, but his heart and his guts were futile really. You saw Stud there after he hit the winning shot saying, yeah, this one's over. And well guys, as quick as it started, this one's over, as Stud said. And well, either he's got a bit lucky tonight, or he's definitely on his way back. I mean, if Tyson has come into this and he's picked up an injury in the ring, then that's not Stud's problem. All he can do is go out there and do his job, which he's done. But that is 2 decisive victories in his last 2 outings for Stud, and for me, whether there's a little bit of luck involved or not in this one, he is definitely starting to look like his old self, and that can only be a good thing for him. We'll see where this momentum takes him, but that was a very, very decisive victory, as was the one against Dixon, as I mentioned last time out. Putting it into context, Dixon Armstrong, when they fought, had a lot going on with Robinson, as we know, and if Tyson's just picked up an injury, maybe, just maybe, we could be reading too much into this. But in any event, it's 2 quick time wins in 2 matches for Stud Rivers now, and that momentum's building for him in no matter what circumstances really. But that is it for this episode, guys. Again, I hope you all enjoyed it. If you do, and you are enjoying, please show me by hitting the like button. Subscribe, I mean, it's free. I don't see why you wouldn't if you're enjoying it. Also share if you could, and use the comments box for anything that you've seen and have an opinion on, or you want to have any kind of input, as long as it's constructive in this universe mode. Use the comments box. But that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Until the next time, I will see you all again. My name's been Rich, this is being RR37. Thank you again for being here. See you all soon. Bye bye.